Okay, so topic was refining of metals, but there wasn't very much on that subject. So I have expanded a little bit and included gases and general materials in this. Okay, so one of the things is what are all the different methods of refining. So one fundamental method is electrolysis. The other is reduction by carbon or reduction by carbon monoxide. And then there are various chemical methods by which metals can be refined. So iron, only pure iron is only known from meteorites. Most of the iron found on Earth are oxides. So one heats iron ore in a blast furnace and one pumps air to enable the reaction. Carbon is more reactive than iron, so it can displace iron from iron oxide. So there is a little bit of an equation there that if you have iron oxide like ferric oxide and we have carbon and we heat the whole thing up, then we get iron separated and the carbon reacts with the oxygen to make carbon dioxide. So this is a sort of a picture of a blast furnace where you have a huge steel uh, furnace and then you charge the iron ore from the top and then you have hot air and then uh, the carbon which is added with iron ore, carbon and limestone, it starts burning and melting. And the heavier sediment uh, is iron, so it goes right at the bottom. And on the top of iron is slag, uh, which is iron with some amount of uh, oxides in it. And right on top, you have whatever waste gases. So steel is mainly iron with some carbon in it. Changing the amount of carbon and other trace elements sort of changes the properties and gives it specific types of steel. So mild steel, stainless steel is very common, and then uh, we have tool steel, which are used in cutting tools. Electro refining of copper. So copper, old days, they used to put wooden poles into a molten solution of copper, and the sap in the wood would react chemically and purify copper. But nowadays it's not done. That was called the polling process. Nowadays it's mainly done by electrolysis. Okay, so the anode uh, has copper collecting on it, and then that is scraped off. So here's some reaction of how aluminum is refined by electrolysis. So similar to copper, aluminum also. So aluminum plants, I think in one of the talks we had mentioned that large aluminum companies are generally near large sources of electricity. So in India, we have Hirakud dam in Orissa. And of course, aluminum ore is also found in Bihar and Orissa. So large aluminum plants exist around Hirakud in Orissa. Refining of gold. So gold refining methods commonly employed are what is called some Miller process and Wool Hill process. So they use gaseous chlorine to extract impurities when gold is at melting point. So this is sort of chemical. So heating and then using chemicals. And another method is electrolysis. So electrolysis is fairly common in most of the metal refining. So pure impure gold is lowered into an electrolytic solution of hydrochloric acid and gold chloride. And influence of an electric current, gold migrates to negatively charged electrode, where it is restored to a highly pure metallic state. Refining of silver. Silver is again something that you make a solution of silver nitrate, and if you add copper, then copper has better affinity towards nitrates. So then silver is precipitated and copper is exchanged for silver. So there's some equation there about silver nitride solution aqueous and copper, and then how silver is deposited in copper nitrate, cupric nitrate as it's called. And silver is also refined by electrolysis. Okay, so there is a chemical method and a electrical method. Now, while we talk about refining, then once we have refined, how do we know it is pure? So one of the method is what is called X-ray fluorescence, in which a metal is bathed in X-rays, after which the metal radiates colors which indicate purity. So one uses also what is called a touchstone and rubs the metal. If you go to a goldsmith or one of these gold shops, they will take your used gold ornaments and rub it on a stone and look at the line, and the color of the line will tell them how much copper is there. So whether it's a 22 karat gold or a 24 karat gold, they can make out. Okay, the other method is by measuring metal's density. So melting a known quantity of metal and removing suspected impurities chemically, and then once we reweigh the metal, we will know how pure the metal is. Then, as I said, that there's a limit to how much we can, at an introductory talk about purification of metals. So I thought I'll add a slide on different methods of separation. Okay. So one of the standard methods is filtration. Then you can adsorb some of the material on surfaces. That's another way of separation of material. Recrystallize. So one can melt something and recrystallize, and when crystals are being formed, the crystals become pure. This thing. So impurities generally don't get into crystal structures. The Another form is distillation. So distillation is where we boil a solution, and uh, we at different temperatures take the liquefied material, and then at different temperatures what we remove is called a distillate, and those are generally pure. Then there are methods called extraction, generally solvent extraction, where we dissolve the material and then chemically separate the material. So somewhat like that copper thing was solvent extraction. Another method is chromatography, and the mobility of different solutions is different. So you create a column, and the flow of different solution at different rates, so at different parts of the column, you get different material. So there are different types of liquid chromatography, gas chromatography, and such things exist. Okay, so these are used for separating materials. So I went away from metals and made it a little bit general in terms of material. Then purifying gases. So again, gases are purified by fractional distillation. So one liquefies the gas and heats the gas up slowly, and at different gases separate at different temperatures. So petroleum refining is an example of fractional distillation. So you have long or tall vertical columns, and then over the height of the columns at different temperatures you hold, and then the petroleum products separate that way. And oxygen is also made by liquefying air and then absorbing nitrogen in zeolite columns. Zeolite columns are vertical tanks with separators and zeolite kept on them. So this is one way of purifying gases. So basically, that's it. There's not much difference in methods. Like I said, fundamental methods are electrolysis and then heating. And the third method is chemical reactions. So heating generally is done with carbon or carbon monoxide by reducing the impurities. Okay, guys. So basically, this was a short presentation. So if there are any doubts or questions, fire away.
No, sir, no doubt. I think this is already like I have studied this topic last year or.
Yeah, I saw
Mhm.
it in the one of the textbooks also. So, for example, uh, this slide I have taken out of a textbook. I forget. I can send the link. I'll add the link in the next slide, and then when I am sending the slides, I'll add the link. So, all you have to remember is chemical methods, electrolytic methods, and methods by heating the material and then oxidizing. So they are the main fundamental methods of separation in or purification of metals. Chalo then, we don't have a topic for the next session. So we go.
Yes, sir. My father will tell you about it.
Okay. Okay then.
Bye,
So
sir.
bye for today.
Bye, sir.
I think we can learn about the history of origami.
About
The history of origami.
history of origami. I
Yes.
don't know. Maybe it started in Japan or somewhere. But it's interesting. Yesterday, somewhere on internet, somebody had shown me how you fold table napkins, and they're fairly simple to fold, and get all kind of table napkin formations like lotus and like flowery kind of this thing. So it's anyway. So we can look at origami, or we can do that ancient Indian history, which we never covered. So
I think we covered about ancient history before once.
did we? I don't remember. We did something on Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, but I don't think we took
Yes,
the.
sir. About
Yeah, we didn't take the ancient history of kings and all that
Also
right up
the
to
Magadh kingdom and all.
19th century. Yeah, none of these dynasties did we color. I saw somebody send me a lot of slides about tourism in Karnataka. And there were really interesting things. I mean, there are things older than Hampi also in Karnataka, and a lot of nice temple structures and all that. I didn't know. There's some place called Kishkinda in Karnataka, which I hadn't heard of. Anyway, so let's see. Let Hasmukh sort of crystallize the subject for the next week. And then if I am told by Monday, Tuesday, that's fine. I can have enough time to prepare. Okay, then. Bye, guys.
bye, sir. Thank you.
Bye,
Welcome.
guys.